let's change the text from the original name, line notify settings, to server connection settings. Like this. Moving on, let's change the name and text properties of all the controls we copied from the line notify settings. I recommend using names and text that align with the values of the connection string used to connect to the database. For the switch control with the text enable, I've named it Enable Connection Switch. This switch allows us to enable or disable the program's interaction with the database. When it's turned off, the program won't operate with the database. This might be useful in cases where there's no internet connection, like when using an online database without Wi-Fi or internet. Keeping this switch off allows the program to continue functioning without trying to connect to the database, displaying a notification message indicating the inability to establish a database connection. For other controls, let me show you an example from the original project for quick reference. There will be labels for port, database, server, username, and password. Starting with the label controls, for port and database. I'll change the text property of these controls to port and database, respectively. For this control, is it username or server? Let me see an example from the original project first. It's server here. And there's another label added here. Copy one label and place it here. Then change the text property to server. For this label, change the text to username, and the last label should be changed to password. The reason I've changed the texts of all these labels first is to avoid switching windows to look at the original project, to determine what all the text box controls in this page should be named. Next, let's change the name property of all text box controls. Starting with this one, it'll be port text box. And the hint text will be port. Next, database text box. After changing the name, update the hint property to database.